taller than any of them. I figured I could charm the judges and get the job anyway. Plus, I had an edge, because I was the only kid trying out who could read a cue card. There must have been 200 kids in line, and I realized that if I wanted the job, I was going to have to come up with some sort of gimmick. So I decided I'd jump up and click my heels together when I said the Peachy Breeze slogan. But when it was finally my turn to go, things didn't work out the way I'd planned. When I clicked my heels together, I sort of dropped the ice cream off my cone. Then I landed in it. Peachy Breeze is peachy. Oops. I knew my chances of getting the part weren't good when the casting people sent me out the door, without even asking my name. Next. My opportunity was slipping away, so I did what I could to improve my odds by ranking on the next kid in line, telling the casting people, I'm pretty sure the next kid in line is allergic to peaches. But it looks like the job is going to go to a younger kid after all, which really stinks. You know, this isn't the first time I've been discriminated against because of my age either. Last October, me and Rowley heard that our local news station was going to be at the Red Apple Farm to shoot footage of kids carving pumpkins and making scarecrows and stuff like that. We knew this was our big chance to be on TV, so we plopped ourselves in front of the news camera and really hammed it up. But it took about 5 seconds for the news people to kick us out. I heard the anchor say, "Hey, get those creepy kids out of there." Then they brought in some little kids to take our place, and they did the exact thing me and Rowley were doing. And I heard the anchor say, "I love it, ha ha." And sure enough, those kids were on the news that night. The truth is, this kind of thing has been going on for a long time. And where it's worst is in my own family. Up until I was 8 or 9, I was the star of every family gathering. It seemed like nobody could get enough of me. All the grandmas would gather around as I sang, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. But after Manny was born, things really changed for me. Here is my handle and here is my spout. Oh, grow up. See, when you're a little kid, nobody ever warns you that you've got an expiration date. One day you're hot stuff, and the next day you're a dirt sandwich. I guess I can understand why Roderick's always so grumpy. It's been a long time since he was the center of attention, and believe me, he's not getting any cuter. The person who's lucky is Rowley. He's an only child, so at least he doesn't have to worry about being replaced by the next kid to come along. He can sing, just tip me over and pour me out, and his parents will forever yell, Yay! Hooray, Rowley! Monday. Tonight at dinner, Dad told us that his younger brother, Uncle Gary, got engaged to his girlfriend Sonia. I guess that's great news and all, but Uncle Gary has been married 3 times before, so this has kind of become a regular thing in our family. In fact, we don't even use growth charts at home, because we can just look at pictures from Uncle Gary's weddings to keep track of our progress. So I think everyone's a little burned out by now. When Uncle Gary got married the 3rd time, Mom didn't even bother to replace the picture of his 2nd wedding on the mantel. She just taped a photo of the new wife's head on top of the old one. Uncle Gary's not a bad guy or anything. He just rushes into these relationships too quickly. He got engaged to his first wife, Linda, 2 months after they met, and she didn't even find out what he did for a living until their wedding day, when he showed up in a dinosaur costume saying, Sorry I'm late. The kids at the party wouldn't let me leave. And I heard Uncle Gary's 2nd wife, Charlene, thought he had a lot of money because of a miscommunication on their 2nd date, when she said, I've got about 30,000 in the bank, maybe 40. And he said, and I've got 45. It turns out Uncle Gary only had $45, not $45,000. But Charlene didn't find that out until it was time to pay the band at the wedding, when Uncle Gary asked, Did you happen to bring your checkbook? Dad's always saying Uncle Gary needs to grow up and stop acting like a child. But if I were Dad, I wouldn't hold my breath. Tuesday. I found out that Uncle Gary's wedding is going to be in November, and the reception will be at my great-grandmother Gammy's house, like last time. Gammy is 95 years old, but she still lives in the big house where she grew up. She's like the official head of the whole Heffley family. Gammy is one of the only people in the world who still writes letters, and when she writes you a letter, she expects you to write one back. I've tried to explain to Gammy that people my age don't know how to write letters with a stamp and a return address and all that stuff, but she doesn't want to hear it. At Uncle Gary's last wedding, Gammy handed me a starter letter, which began, "Dear Gammy," had a lot of space in the middle, and ended, "Love, Gregory," plus an envelope with her address and stamp on it so I wouldn't have any excuse not to write. But I still haven't filled it in and mailed it yet, so now every time I walk past my desk in my bedroom, I feel guilty. Gammy is always making you feel guilty. Last year at Thanksgiving, I put a whoopee cushion on her chair, and she sat on it, and it went brrrr. A few days later, everyone in the whole family got a handwritten apology letter from Gammy. It said, "Dear family, I am writing to apologize for the unfortunate incident that occurred shortly after our family concluded grace at our Thanksgiving celebration. As I have gotten older, I have found it more difficult to control my body, and I'm afraid my recent surgery may have contributed to my little slip. I hope that this unfortunate mishap does not become the lasting impression of what was otherwise a glorious and blessed occasion. Love, Gammy." Sometimes I wonder if Gammy is just messing with everyone and does this kind of thing on purpose. Last Easter, she invited the whole family to her house, but everyone had their own thing going on, and nobody went. Gammy called Dad on Easter Sunday and said she'd bought a scratch ticket and won the $10 million grand prize. Word got around the family quick, and everyone was at Gammy's house in no time flat. But it turned out the scratch ticket wasn't a winner after all. Gammy didn't seem too bothered that she wasn't a multimillionaire after all, and I have a feeling she got what she really wanted anyway, all of us coming to visit. She even made a ham in case, and I quote, "anybody stopped by." I hope I live to be 95 years old, because if I do, I guarantee you I'll be messing with people too. Like wearing my underwear on the outside of my pants, just to see if anyone notices. What makes me kind of nervous about going to Gammy's house in November is that it's time for me to get the talk. Every time someone in my family gets to be about my age, Gammy sits them down and talks to them about who knows what. I guess it's one of those elder wisdom kinds of things. The last person to get the talk from Gammy was Roderick, and now I'm next in line. I'm hoping Uncle Gary breaks off his engagement so we don't have to go down there, because the whole thing is making me a nervous wreck. Thursday. We've got a new math teacher at our school named Mrs. McElroy. She used to teach kindergarten, and I don't think she's real crazy about middle school kids. We have math right after phys ed, so by the time we get to Mrs. McElroy's room, everyone's all sweaty from exercising. Mrs. McElroy complained to the principal and said she can't teach when it smells like a monkey house in the room. So the principal said that from now on us kids have to take showers after gym. Well, I can tell you that most of the boys in my class were not on board with that decision. The only person who was okay with it was Roger Townsend, but he was held back twice, and he's practically a man anyway. So the rest of us decided we were going to have to fake it. After phys ed was over yesterday, we all took turns getting our hair wet, so it looked like we showered. I don't know if we really fooled Mrs. McElroy, but I don't think she's ever going to go into the boys' locker room and investigate. This showering situation reminds me of something that happened over the summer, when me and Rowley were still friends. I used to go up to Rowley's house just about every day, but the problem was that I had to walk past Fragley's house each time. I remembered Roderick saying that a person could make it all the way from our house to the top of the hill by crawling through the drainage pipe. I decided to see if he was right, and believe it or not, he was. It was pretty dark and nasty in that drainage pipe, but it was totally worth crawling through it to avoid Fregley. When I headed back home, I went through the drainage pipe again. But I probably should have hosed off in the front yard or something, because Mom seemed suspicious when I walked through the front door. I knew Mom would have a fit if she found out I crawled through the drainage pipe, so I didn't say anything. But Mom told me I was going to have to take a shower before dinner. When I got out of the bathroom, there was something sitting on my bed. And get this, it was wrapped up like a present. It even had a bow. But when I opened it, I found a stick of deodorant and a book called What the Heck Just Happened to My Body by Darlene Wade, Ph.D. I put the deodorant on my dresser, but I tossed the book in the trash. I'd seen that one before. Mom must have gotten the same book for Roderick when he was my age, and I found it in his junk drawer. And believe me, I do not need to see the pictures in that book a second time. And what's worse is that Mom made me the subject of her parenting column in our local paper that week. She didn't use my actual name, but I don't think it would have taken a detective to figure out who she was talking about. Puberty Can Be a Difficult Time by Susan Heffley. When a child begins to experience the changes that come with adolescence, the transformation can be uncomfortable, awkward, or even frightening. But given the right guidance, a child can learn to welcome and even celebrate the transition into adulthood. My second-born son recently began his wondrous journey into his new yada yada yada. Sunday. Tonight, Mom called a house meeting. And whenever she does that, it's never good. The last time we had a house meeting, it was so she could complain about the situation in the bathroom. She said she was tired of having to clean the floor around the toilet because of our lousy aim. I knew exactly what she was talking about, too. One time, I actually missed the bus because I used the bathroom after Manny, and I swear I was stuck to the floor. All I can say is, I'm not the one causing the problem. When Roderick uses the bathroom, half the time he doesn't even turn on the light. Mom said the new rule was that us boys were going to have to sit down every time we used the bathroom, no matter what. But none of us guys liked that idea. Roderick suggested we just buy a couple of urinals, since there are more of us than there are of her. Plus, that way, more than one person could go at the same time. But Mom said that would be tacky, and she used her veto power to shut his idea down. I thought tonight's house meeting was going to be a follow-up to the bathroom meeting, since nobody was following the sitting-down rule, and things are worse than ever. But this meeting was about something completely different. Mom told us that she was going back to school, and that she was going to start taking classes a few times a week. Well, I was totally caught off guard by this news. Mom's always there when I get home from school, and that's the way I like it. But Mom said that after all these years of staying home with us kids, she needs to do something that stimulates her mind. So she said she's going to take classes for a semester and see how it goes. I guess I can understand why Mom would want to branch out, because if I did the kinds of things she does every day, like take Mommy and me dance class with kids and other moms, I'd probably be going bananas too.